Welcome in to the 1-0 Falcons Today. Atlanta knocks off Bryce Young 24-10 and the Panthers. And I told you guys, there was no way the Falcons were going to lose this game. Rookie QB, first overall, week one is a kiss of death in week one. And Atlanta, they made sure of it. After a close start to the game, a back and forth, if you will, the Falcons turned it on in the second half to pull away for a 2-touchdown lead. We're going to break down this game, talk about Desmond Ridder, this elite running back duo between Bijan Robinson and Tyler Allgeier, plus the highly paid safety Jessie Bates showed Falcons fans what he's all about. And then we're not going to talk about your fantasy team, but if you picked Kyle Pitts and Drake London, you might be a little bit mad with Arthur Smith after this game. So we're going to break down all of what we saw from week one between Carolina and Atlanta, where the Falcons won 24-10. But before we get into the meat and potatoes of the show, we are trying to get to the next milestone here at the channel, which is 14,000 subscribers. If you notice, this video is coming out, honestly, a little later than I would prefer, but that's because in Chat Sports, it's all about subscribers when it comes to studio space. We need more subscribers because you know what video came out before ours? The Saints recap, because they've got more subscribers. So if you hate the Saints and you want Falcons content every single Sunday, hit that sub button. Now, let's get started with the most important position on the field. Desmond Ridder looked like Desmond Ridder from last year. 15 for 18, no real big shots downfield, had a nice 35-yard pass to Kyle Pitts in the fourth quarter, but 115 yards, one touchdown pass to Bijan Robinson. Desmond Ridder looked like Desmond Ridder from last year. I still want to see that jump because as of right now, he's a glorified game manager, meaning he's not going to lose you the game. He's not going to put you behind the 8 ball or anything. But if Atlanta finds themselves down by a touchdown in the fourth quarter, I got to know that Desmond Ridder has the arm talent to go Drake London, Kyle Pitts, Drake London, down the field and whatnot. But that is for another video, another post-game, another day. For now, we celebrate and we enjoy a very strong performance by Desmond Ridder and this offense, specifically the running back room. Let's actually start with Tyler Allgeier, who had 75 rushing yards for 2 touchdowns. He would make up what would be a combination of himself and Bijan Robinson, going over 100 yards and 3 touchdowns. This running back room between Tyler Allgeier and Bijan Robinson, who was the 8th overall selection, and he outshined the first overall pick in Bryce Young, by the way. 10 carries, 56 rushing yards, 27 receiving yards, and 1 touchdown. Bijan gave everyone a really good taste of what is to come. In his NFL debut, we'll say, screw the preseason. The guy found the end zone. The guy was spinning out of tackles. He was running over Von Bell. He was making some very good, very strong plays. This running back duo between Robinson and Allgeier, it might be the best duo in the NFL. So weigh in for me down in the comment section. Do the Falcons have the best running back duo? They might not have the number one running back, but pound for pound, 2 guys, 2-on-2, you have a 1,000-yard rusher as your RB2 in this dynamic duo. I think the Atlanta Falcons might have the best overall duo across 2 guys. Some other receiving notes I want to get to here. Kyle Pitts, 2 grabs for 44 yards. Matt Collins got more attention than Drake London did in a lot of ways. 3 receptions for 31 yards. And then Bijan, who a longtime subscribers know, we've talked about this for a while, is going to be used as a receiving threat. 6 grabs, 27 yards, and 1 touchdown. As for Drake London, we unfortunately did not get to see the Drake London show. Just 1 target. I mean, Arthur Smith said, I don't give a shit about your fantasy team. So I guess shout out to Arthur Smith for that. I do want to see some progress, though. This is not from a fantasy standpoint. And I didn't even take Drake London in my fantasy league. But this is from a production standpoint that this is not maybe the most sustainable offense. Because sure, you're going up against a team like Carolina, who was one of the worst in the NFL last year. But when you go up against some of the tougher opponents in the NFL, you got to get your number 1 wide receiver more than just 1 target in the game. Now, before we get to the defense and Jessie Bates, who balled out in this game, you can ball out. When you go to chatsports.com/betfalcons, enter promo code Falcons125. When you do that, they're going to give you a 125% deposit bonus. So if you deposit $100, they match that hundo and they give you an extra $25. So now you have $225 to play with to put on the Falcons all year long. Moving on to some other stats I think you guys might find interesting. Falcons total offense, 221 yards. The offensive line kind of lost in the trenches in the first half, I thought, but regained their footing in the second half, which is great to see because this offensive line will dictate how successful this team is. So as the offensive line improved in the second half, surprise, surprise, the Falcons pulled away for a 2-touchdown victory. Passing-wise, with some sacks involved, 91 yards. Rushing-wise, 130 yards. That is Tyler Allgeier and Bijan Robinson. Cordero Patterson, FYI, did not play in this game. He is still dealing with a thigh injury. No turnovers, time of possession almost close down to the middle, 25 minutes. As for Carolina's offense in this game, 281 yards, passing 127. Bryce Young did not look very good. At least that was my impression. Good for Hayden Hurst. Well, okay, talk about all-time Hayden Hurst moved here, right? He gets a touchdown against his old team, and what does he do? He throws Bryce Young's first touchdown, Paul, 20 yards into the seats. I mean, I felt bad for Bryce Young in that moment. 32 carries, 154 yards. Good play from Miles Sanders. 3 turnovers. Yep. The 2 interceptions, which lead us right here. There was some, and I didn't even realize this until maybe today, level of like skepticism around giving a safety a 4-year, $64 million contract. This is why you do it. Atlanta's defense, after Grady Jarrett, had no identity last year. No one that you would go into the Falcons Pro Store and buy a jersey for, knowing that guy's going to be a star, that guy's at least going to be on the roster in a year or two. You have that in Jessie Bates. He's a jersey guy. You love jersey guys. Jessie Bates, 10 tackles, led the team, 2 pass breakups, 2 interceptions, made some big plays on the rookie QB. I feel like we didn't talk about Bates a lot in the preseason because the preseason is not for the starters and the stars, so we don't really get a good look at them. But lo and behold, the Atlanta Falcons have what the making of a very good safety duo and a very good secondary of the leaders with Jessie Bates and A.J. Terrell. When you get Jeff Okudah back and healthy, this is going to be a no-fly zone down in ATL. Not even Delta Airlines will be able to get off the ground when they go up against the Atlanta Falcons. Now, before we get on out of here, I do want to know what everyone's one-word reaction after the Falcons win is. I'm going to give you my one-word reaction, but let me know what your thoughts are, what your one word is down in the comment section below. For me, my one-word reaction after this 14-point stomping at home against the Panthers, predictable. We told you guys for a long time the Falcons were going to win this game. There was never a doubt around it. No rookie quarterback picked first overall has won in week 1 since David Carr in 2002. That streak was not going to end on the road for Bryce Young with no real supporting cast around him. So the Falcons start off 1-0, basically 2-0, because division wins feel like 2 wins. And if you win in week 1, it feels like an extra win. Atlanta's 3-0, Sam. There's no other team in the NFC South who is 3-0 right now. The Bucs are 1-0, which is a very impressive victory, honestly. Saints, not a division win, but a home win. So maybe 1-0-1. The Panthers are 0-1. So Panthers basically 0-3. So the Falcons are your first place NFC South runners with a 3-0 mark to start the year.